Hey guys, welcome to another episode of From the Root to the Fruit. I'm your host, Jay Smith. Today's guest is from the island of Hawaii. Uh, a brother of mine, he's just a really good dude, uh, always helping individuals in the community. Also, has his own training academy for offensive linemen to kind of help kids out. In addition to the other things that he does as far as being philanthropic, like I said, just an overall good dude. I want to hear about his culture, where he comes from, and his spirit of mana. I just did a little bit of research, wanting to get to understand more about the Hawaiian culture. I spent a lot of time with him. I never actually asked most of the questions that I'm going to ask today. What an opportunity for you guys to sit back, get some appreciation and some more understanding about this gentleman. With no further ado, Mr. Pila Langi.
Let's get it going.
My guy, Pila, I appreciate you coming on the show. Like I told you just a minute ago, thank you, brother. I love how you move in your spaces. I appreciate you taking the time. You said you were fresh off helping some youngsters out in Hawaii. Which island are you on?
Up on Oahu.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oahu.
Tell me a little bit about that and what kind of got you started operating in that space where you just seemed like you genuinely help anybody.
Yeah. Just as coaching goes, it's all about helping people. And me and you, we talk about it, especially in the O line. I feel like it's probably one of those positions that's the most technical spots on the football, but not really, taught that way. So, I just felt like it's one of those things where I'm just trying to do my part, man. Just trying to do my part, improve the game somehow, improve kids' life. I remember I saw a quote one day that said that if you're not giving back to the world that you're in, then you're not really doing your due diligence of doing your part. So just something I like to live by, and all these kids remind me of me. And I remember when I tried to go and play football, I was like searching out whatever. I remember playing O-line. I had my stance where my two toes were like inside, and then I'm like, oh, let me just see if that works. Try that. That did not work. So I definitely changed that after that. Tried it with my toes forward. I tried it, all these different techniques and stuff, and I just did whatever I could that I felt worked for me. And then just throughout the years, just learning and coaching and fortunately for me, I'm a big guy. Polynesians are big, and then a lot of my family members are, my nephews are all big too. So just over the years, a lot of them came up as offensive linemen. So
And let me ask you something about that. Like for real, I know I have met at least 4 or 5 of your nephews. How many nephews do you have, bro?
Too many, bro. Too many. if you and I'm pretty sure coming from Texas, you got a bunch of other Polynesian friends. Everybody's related. Everybody's related. And even when we're not related, we're related just saying we're cousins or whatever. So.
Right, like you guys, and I think that's one of the beautiful. There's a bunch of beautiful things about your culture, but that in particular, like you guys, if you see one, you're now 2. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Let's come on, let's go.
Yeah, it's family, man. That's just how it rolls. So.
Well, tell me about early life. Did you grow up on the island? Is that like one of the things, or I know in conversations that we've had, and I've talked to Mel. Shout out Mel a little bit as well. Like football is more of a international pass, where, right? Where you learn the game and then you're off the island and you go and go cultivate other things. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So grew up in Hawaii. Just pretty much grew up here all the way till when I was 19. Just like every other kid over here, had the dreams of, playing football, leaving the island, going to play football, making it big in college, and then going to NFL, and then so-called making the big bucks, whatever, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, my my path there went that way. But yeah, just growing up on the island, it was it was actually a blessing. Growing up here, you think that that's normal, swimming in the ocean every day, playing in the waterfalls, just having the sun every single season. So you just think those type of things are normal, and you take it for granted until you move out there to Washington. And
Yes, there are times where I forget that the sun is actually orbiting. We're
yeah,
orbiting the sun.
yeah. So yeah, exactly. So it was definitely a blessing living out here. My family, you met some of my nephews and all that, but I'm pretty blessed with them. Everybody's loving, everybody cares for each other, everybody's got each other's backs. And I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest out of three brothers and a sister, one
Okay.
older sister. So it's you know my three older brothers pretty much kind of straightened me out throughout the years. They did all the bad things, and then they told me never ever to do that, and pretty much beat my ass if they ever caught me ditching school or anything. So it was good. It was good. They kind of kept me straight. So it's kind of led me off into college land. So
Oh, love it, love it.
yeah.
Now I'm gonna skip around a little bit. You own and operate Barricade Academy
Hmm.
to work with linemen. Is there a cap on that? Like an age group that you or just everybody's welcome, do whatever.
Yeah. So there was a. It's funny when you said that because I did have a cap. I did have an age group of, I want to just set it at like the ages of 11 or 12,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden, I'll get a parent that contacts me and it's like, oh, my kid is 10. Can he join? And I'm like, okay, how big is he? Oh, he's pretty big. I'm like, oh yeah, he's a big kid. Yeah, he can join. Then all of a sudden I get another contact from another parent like, oh, can my kid join? And I'm like, oh, how old is he? He's 8. I'm like, oh, that's kind of young, but yeah, he's pretty big. I'm like, really? Let me see. Bring him over. I see him. I'm like, damn, he's just as big as the other kids. Yeah, he could definitely work out with us. So I want to say there's really no cap.
Okay.
I've worked with I worked with pretty young kids, even down to like six,
Okay.
7 years old. And then I've worked with women, coach women's football for a year or two there. Really had fun with that. Then I coach high school kids, and then the biggest victories are always when you get that one kid that nobody ever has faith in, and then you just coach him up, and he just goes out there and just dominates everybody. So it's one of my pleasures just watching a kid like just have that smile, big smile on his face after moving for a big guy from one point A to point B against his own will.
That's
So
it. That's it. Oh man, that's my favorite part. Oh, you didn't want to go, but I bet you gonna go this way.
yeah, bet you.
That's awesome, dude. I honestly, and this is for real. I think I've seen you upset twice. I think I've seen you upset with my own two eyes twice in our entire dealings and relationship, like the whole way. What is it about your I think it's your culture. Maybe it's not. Maybe you
Yeah.
can correct me on that. Like, what is it about? Like, I don't know that I've ever met. I misspoke. I met one dude that's from Hawaii, that's Hawaiian, that was we had that same fire, and he
Yeah.
displayed it readily. But for the most part, it's more of a still waters run deep type of culture.
Yeah. It's one of those type of cultures where we're raised to respect the elders, respect our older siblings or older brothers or mom, dad, auntie. Even though if there's like somebody I've never met before, if they're older than me, I tend to be respectful and always show respect, right? So it's one of those type of things. Uh, you know, I, yeah, you're absolutely right. A lot of people say, Pila, you got a lot of patience. It's just it definitely is my nature. I never really realized that until I just start seeing people like getting mad at certain things. I'm like, why are you mad for? They're like, dude, did you not see that? I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't that bad. You're like, what's wrong with you? Oh, I didn't think it was that bad, but but it's one of those things. I don't know. I guess all hell could be breaking loose around me, and I'll be just like, oh, okay, just analyzing the situation and just reacting, normally to it. So it's just, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's just, I guess that's just that's just how I am.
I honestly think it's a great thing. I wish some days that were me, because if the wind blows if the wind blows the wrong way, we gonna need to talk about this before we go any further. We're gonna have to talk about this right here. But that's great, man. What was college like? I know you said you just kind of spurned going the direction of the NFL and all that stuff. What was college life like?
Yeah, college was it was good. Coming out, I was the first one in my family to go to college.
Okay.
So when I was raised, I was raised with dad. My dad had a construction company, and all I remember was just pushing those wheelbarrows every summer, full of cement, rock, stone. And my dad telling me, I'm just like, Dad, are we going to ever eat lunch or take a break or or anything? He's like, oh well, just remember this next time you go to school, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. So that always locked in my head. So the moment I got out of high school, that first thing I did was hit the college. There was no working world for me. I'm like, I'm done with this.
I've seen enough. I've seen enough of this. Get me out. Yes.
So when I went to college, I went here for a year in Hawaii. Tried the community college here. I wanted to go to a JUCO up in California.
Okay.
Try to get there with my friends and stuff, but my uncle called me, and then he's like, I was telling my cousin, I said, hey, want to go play football? Yeah, let's go play football. So we was gonna go to California JUCO, and then my cousin comes back and tells me, hey, my uncle called and he said there's a JUCO up in Washington that we can go play at. I'm like, Washington? You serious? They got JUCOs up there? He's like, yeah. Kid from Hawaii, I don't know, man. And back then the internet wasn't like that big of a thing, right? You could go on the internet, but it was like you don't know what the hell you're looking for. So I'm like, okay, let's go to Washington. So we go to Washington. My uncle picks me up. My first time off the island, just like all scared and stuff. We're driving through, and then he lived in Bothell. And then the school that he was talking about was Cascadia Community College. Yeah, no football team there.
That was this. I'm like, I didn't know they had a squad. Did they have a squad back in the day? Okay.
No, they did not. They did not have a squad. So me and my cousin came down here, and then we got to Cascadia. And the good thing is we were first students, so they were looking for students. So we didn't have to pay out-of-state tuition because of that. So it was.
Okay.
So it benefited us because we didn't have to pay out-of-state tuition. But there was no football team, so we figured, we'll just go to college. We're focusing slowly on this, and then hopefully maybe we can kind of go to a bigger school we'll play for.
Mm-hmm.
So all we did was just lift weights, go to school, and then we used to work at the nightclubs at night, just bouncing and all this good stuff. Did that, went to Cascadia. And it's a new school. Since it's a new school, they're always like looking for students to do activities and community events and all that. And then that captured. Somebody asked me to join, so I joined, and I did it. And then I'm like, wow, this feels real good doing stuff for the community here. So I started joining a bunch of other clubs, and then I was just still working out, still going to school, still working, and then joining other clubs, which led me to other opportunities to work in the school, like work study and all that. So did that, got my first computer job working at the school. I thought it was pretty hardcore, pushing a wheelbarrow to being a computer monitor. So it was
there's a serious contrast there for sure.
There was so I was like, this is what I've been waiting for all those summers. Never ever pushing the wheelbarrow, just sitting here. Can I help you? Okay, you need an ID? Yeah, sure, I got you. Don't worry about that. So, I went from that to and then I joined like the student government for the school.
Mm-hmm.
Did a lot of those activities, and then we did like met a lot of good people throughout that, and then then I took a lot of trips. They had a lot of trips that took us for activities and stuff. And I started doing all those things, and And it's just funny how the journey of doing one thing leads you to another, and that's where I really, I'm a firm believer that you can always have one goal, but it's never ever the ending goal that really matters. It's the journey that really counts. So
Right.
so that's why I always like to teach my nephews, like you just never know. So when I went to Cascadia, I went there, spent probably spent longer than I should have. I did like 3 years, 3 years, maybe 3.5. I don't know. But by the time I left Cascadia, I think I had 160 credits. Like I took almost every
You
single.
took all the classes?
I took a lot of classes over there. Like I took like a lot of computer classes. I took a lot of like these other, like I thought I was gonna get into robotics, so I did a lot of like these other
Okay.
math classes and all that. And then I said, oh, you know what, maybe I want to get into computers. So I tried taking a programming class, and I realized that it takes a special person to program. So
You have to, yes, you have to have
yes,
deep, that has to
yeah,
be in you to
yes,
do that.
yes. It is. It is. Much respect to all you programmers. I don't know how you guys do it, but
Shout out to all the computer programmers, because my soul cannot stare at a screen for that long.
oh man, I barely even passed that class. I think I passed it with a D plus or something like that. So yeah. So eventually I realized that, hey, I like business. I like playing with money. So did business. Did that. Eventually I transferred over to University of Washington, the Bothell campus, and then but I made a lot of friends at the UW Seattle campus, and then just because a lot of football players are from Hawaii, and I knew some of them. We hung out with a lot of those guys, and we had some good times, man, in college. So made a lot of good friends. I mean, I looked at a lot of good people that I still talk to till this day. So.
Oh, there's two things I really, really want to talk to you about. I'll go ahead and kick it off. Uh, the Hakka. Now, traditionally, can you kind of speak to that? One of the main reasons I really want to know is because Logan is a honorary Hawaiian, and through no doing of mine, like he makes sure that I turn on the YouTube, the All Blacks. I know, although they're from New Zealand or whatever, like
Yeah.
he gets jacked up when they start doing the Hakka.
Yeah. So the Hakka is it's pretty much is considered a war dance, right? So
Okay.
New Zealand, the All Blacks made it popular because they're like the best rugby team for many years. They're kind of like the LA Lakers or the Chicago Bulls during their dynasty, and just dominated the rugby league. But the Hakka is like, I guess back in the day, before they went to war or whatever, they always did that call, that dance, kind of hyping everybody up, getting them ready to go to war. Last dance with each other. You just never know what was going to happen. So
Right.
they said it with all their heart, their might, and it's one of those things when you do it. A lot of people they always do it. They just get rowdied up, but it's one of those things where you do it and you feel one with everybody when you're doing it together. So it's just one of those things. Each culture got their own war dance though. So
Okay.
the Hakka, is from the New Zealand, the Warriors, the Maori people. Samoans got their own, Tongans got their own. So if you ever look it up on YouTube, just look up all the different cultural war dances, and sometimes in the rugby matches, they'll all go against each other, and there are different war dances before the rugby matches even go on.
Oh yeah, it's quite the rabbit hole, because I started off with it, and this was when Logan was, I think he was 2, and he's just standing there and he's starting to do it too, and he's getting jacked up, and I'm just like, well, I'm like, what is going on?
I remember I saw I think you posted a video or you sent it to me, and
Mhm.
I was like, bruh, he's got it down. He's got it
he's
down.
he's a maniac. This one is a maniac. What take me to? I know I've spent a great deal of time in Las Vegas. I know you've got a couple of stories. Is there
Yeah.
any particular story that jumps out? I know you worked some of the security down there too.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, it's actually an interesting story about Vegas. So I moved from Hawaii. So after college, I moved back to Hawaii. Yeah, I lived in Hawaii for about another 6, 7 years. and then felt like I needed to leave the island, just kind of get back into the hustle mode, or get back into things, just a change of scenery, change. So I figured, oh, why not go to Vegas? So I went to Vegas, figuring like, oh, I have a bachelor's degree from University of Washington. I have a master's degree in information systems. All this should pretty much land me a job. I worked at telecom for a long time, right?
Right.
Yeah, nothing, man. I could not get no jobs. I applied for everywhere. I barely even got like a substitute teaching job. But then it's funny because I walked into a club, and then one of the guys approached me and he's like, "Hey, you want to work security?" I'm like, "Man, I'm trying not to work security." And I'm like, "Okay, so what? Work security here?" And they go, "Yeah, yeah. No, there's a big club called Hakka." And I'm like, "Hakka? You mean that big club over there?" Like, "Yeah. You mean that long line that's always out there?" Like, "Yeah." Oh, there could be money there. so
Right.
so so I went there, applied, and then I guess they weren't hiring for Hakkasan itself, but there was another club that was down there. It was right next to it. It was called Beecher's Madhouse, and
Okay.
I'm telling you that club was crazy. Like when I say that was like, I would love to party in that club. That was amazing club. Me and you had a few at Vegas, and that was pretty crazy. But
Yes, sir.
this was a different type of crazy. They had
Okay. Now you have to tell me, because I know when we went, but now I have to know. Now you have my interest. I have to
oh
know.
yeah, I'll tell you this story. This club, the whole theme of this club is like, they have midgets, and then they have shows in between. Like every hour they have like magicians, or they have a guy who goes in a washing machine, or they have midget boxing or midget wrestling, and then how they have bottle service, right?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. You
Yeah,
can get a bottle service at the Walgreens in Vegas.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But this bottle service, they had midgets flying in the air, hanging from a wire, flying out of the air, holding the bottle, and then they would lower them down wherever the table was, so the midget would deliver the bottle. It was it
Take
was
my
crazy,
money.
bro.
Take my money.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy. And then whenever when they not only had that, but then they had people dressed in Sesame Street costumes. So they had Big Bird, Cookie Monster, everybody just roaming around dancing, and they had lookalikes. Like they had a Rocky lookalike. Shout out to Sly. I know all these guys are super cool. There was a Pee Wee lookalike. Shout out to him. He's good dudes, man. All good people. But man, it was definitely an experience, man. And I still cherish those memories to this day. Trust me, all my friends, when they came over to visit me, yeah, hey, come and visit me at work. Oh, you sure? I'm like, yes, please come through. I got you. So
Yes, yes. You need to see this. Yes.
yeah, you definitely need to see this. It was crazy, man. But yeah, after that, that ran for like maybe a couple months, and then the pool season came around, the summer, and then they're
Hmm.
like, one of the managers came up to me like, "Hey, Pila, I want you to come work with us at Wet Republic." And I didn't know what the hell Wet was. I'm like, "Oh, what is Wet?" They're like, "Trust me, Pila,
Yeah.
come with me."
What's the joint?
Yeah.
Shout out shout out Wet
Shout out,
Republic.
well, Wet Republic, you guys doing good over there. So he was like, "Hey, come with us. I got the perfect spot for you." I'm like, "Dude, it's hot out there. I gotta sit outside in the hot sun for 130 degrees." They're like, "No. We got the perfect spot. We're gonna put you in the shade. We're gonna put you right next to the DJ booth." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So literally, like where me and you was at that table,
Yes,
I
sir.
was I was sitting. That was my spot. That's why every time I go there, I was
Oh,
just sitting at
then
the.
yeah, you wasn't really working then.
No, man, I was chilling, enjoying the scenery, enjoying the views. That's all I was doing.
I was like, if you were, especially where we were sitting at, and I'm like, dude, you set up. It is not hot over here at all. We got the air
No.
conditioner flowing, the drinks is good. Like, yeah, we good. Yeah,
Yeah. So I enjoyed that, man. So it's like, but eventually, it gets to a point, I had a lot of fun doing that, but I wasn't making the kind of money that I wish I would be making.
right.
So eventually I had to kind of like start looking outside of Vegas, and I started calling, applying at Washington, and
Mhm.
I got lucky. I landed a job at Boeing, as you guys know. And then from there I put in my 2 weeks, and then it's the funny story on this one too is like there was always a thing at Wet Republic. So you know how everybody's in the pools and everything, and at the end of the night, whoever's birthdays or whoever's last days at work had to
Mhm.
get thrown into the pool. So every day there was always somebody getting thrown in the pool. My last day at work, everybody's like, Pila, so what? Are you gonna just let us throw you in, or I'm like, nope, you guys gotta force me in just like everybody else. Man, it was funny because I didn't know how they were gonna do it, but yeah,
I'm sitting here trying to work it out in my head too. I don't know how you would go about doing that either. I'm
so
curious.
they got some of my really good buddies over there, and so they're pretty big guys too. So they pretty much said, just go ahead and go ahead and either you can go in or we just like try to walk you in. So I just said, oh, let me just walk in. So I got in, walked up, and then just like got on the top post of the lifeguard staff and just bombs away, man. It was pretty good. If you ever look at my Instagram, I have a video that people posted it. They were chanting my name and stuff. It felt good, man. So
I'm I'm gonna put the link in the description. For that right there. I'm gonna put the link on that joint.
yeah, it's
Uh,
hilarious.
so what
Hey,
you're out in
what?
Hawaii? Okay, sorry.
I got somebody at the door. You mind? Okay.
All right. The so you connected and you got a job at Boeing. You're
Yeah,
leaving Vegas. Hit me.
yeah.
How did that go?
It went well. So I went from working in the clubs, nightclubs at Wet Republic, you know, and of
That's
course,
got to be so different.
yeah, and then you go to Boeing where I that's I worked at Hawaiian Tel. It's a corporate setting, but still yet it's like kind of a local Hawaiian setting. Still yet, so it's not too business business like. And then when you go to Boeing, it's like big time corporate world. Everybody's kind of like a certain way, and then
It's just so.
yeah, yeah. So it's like I went into Boeing. My first year, I admit maybe my first couple of years there, I was struggling a little bit. Just just trying to like cater myself into a certain way that I thought that I should have been.
Right.
Um, but then eventually it got to the point where I had a manager that kind of just told me, hey, coolest guy ever. Shout out to him. He probably kind of helped me save my career there because he came in. His wife is from Hawaii, so
Okay.
he knows how the culture is and how the way I am. I guess people were kind of looking at me like, oh, he doesn't seem like he cares, but me, I'm just like when all hell breaks loose, people yell. I just still just I'm just I'm just there like,
It's
okay,
like
what is going on here? I'm
what
just
are we
thinking,
doing? Okay. Yeah.
yeah, taking the logic and all that, and just taking it in and just trying to grind and just do the work, and then um, eventually he kind of taught me like, oh yeah, just that's just the way he is, and then people started noticing that he just tell me exactly what they need or anything like that, and never overreact, and people, I don't know, he really helped me with getting me back to how I should have been acting,
Okay.
being myself. Once I started being authentic and kind of being myself and just being that guy, like, just like, oh, just, you know, being cool, calm, relaxed, cracking jokes here and there, being nice. If you ask anybody at Boeing right now, they'll be like, yeah, Pila is pretty much the nicest guy. It's funny when you tell me that because I never ever think I'm that nice of a guy, but I guess a lot of my coworkers always tell me you're pretty much the nicest guy I ever met in Boeing. I'm like, okay,
I'll go ahead and tell you, and this is because I'm not the nicest guy. I'm not a bad guy, but I'm not the nicest guy. The if somebody told me like just walking around like well Pila's hateful or they got a store, I'd smack them in the face. Like I can't, they can't. You have to be lying to me. I've seen nothing that makes any sense. Like obviously I've like I said, there's been a couple times where I've seen you visibly upset, but that didn't
yeah.
change your demeanor. Like I could see it bothered you, but you were like, and then it was just went right back to normal. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There's only a few things in this world that can really bother me. Probably one of it is probably either messing with my integrity, which me and you always talked about before.
Yep.
Questioning my integrity or messing with my family or friends a certain way I didn't want you to do it, and then just either that or just messing with me as a person. Other than that, I really don't have no problems with you. So.
Dude, I love it. I love it. So what's next, man? Like you're out there. It's obviously it's COVID and everything like that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. What are the next steps when you get back to the mainland? Like what are the things that you are looking forward to most? Like what are the 2021 plans? Like stuff like that. What have we got coming next for you?
Yeah. So next, just in 2021, once COVID releases, I'm actually enjoying myself right here in Hawaii, man. Just being safe over here with the family and, just having fun in the sun and, just training kids. I like training the kids out there in Washington. The only issue I had over there was it's raining and it's cold, 8 months out of the year. So one thing about over here in Hawaii, I can just go to the parks, just go to a park whenever, and it's always sunny. I don't have to really worry about if it's gonna rain or not. And
Oh yeah.
you know what's funny? I was there in the summer. Remember, I was trying to run barricade during COVID. I had my safety precautions and everything on, and then all of a sudden, the whole West Coast decided to burn up in the forest and smog hit, and I'm like, really? Wow, first time ever. I never knew Washington can actually have big time forest fires like this.
Yes, where you can't walk outside. You can't
Yeah.
it's hot in the house because we don't have we have an air conditioner in our room, but we don't
Yeah.
have one through the house. So you don't need one. And
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, it's hot. I can't stay inside. I can't go outside because I'll suffocate.
Yeah.
I can't go to a place because it's COVID. Like what?
Yep. Yep. So it's it was everything that hit in 2020 made me like realize like, man, it's hard to run barricade in 2020 over here in Washington. So that's why when I came up to I came up to Hawaii was unfortunately for bad causes and stuff like that with COVID and my brother and stuff. But I came down and then spent time with family. And eventually got to the point where I'm like, I need to coach. I need to train somebody. I need to coach. I need to train somebody.
I think I saw some of your family members, cousins, or something like that, like at the park doing the hills. I think I saw that on the hills. I'm like, yeah, I ain't doing that. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. That looks like it hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's my one of my cousins. She always walks up this one hill, and I'm like, yeah, let's take me up there. Let me go ahead and check it out. Seriously, I tried to sprint up that hill. Like you look at that hill, you're like, wow, it's a pretty steep climb, but you can see the end.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, let me just see how fast I can sprint up. If I just sprint up quickly, maybe it won't be that bad. I sprinted up, I died out like a quarter of the way. I'm like, God damn it, now I'm just gonna die the rest of the 3/4 of the way. So it's they definitely got a lot of hills over here you can exercise at, a lot of hiking trails, a lot of good hiking trails and stuff. So I did that a couple times with my family. And then just like some of the exercises that I show you that I do with the offensive line.
Oh yeah.
With the bags and the med balls and the bands and all that. I've been doing that with some of the kids here. They haven't done that before, so it's been activating all these different muscle groups that never experienced before, and they're like, wow, they're liking it. So it's good. I'm just bringing it over here in Hawaii, what I've learned and throughout my years coaching, and just enjoying it, and just, man, you know how it is when you coach. Once you coach, man, you have to. It's one of those things. You only can be away for so long, but you got to get back into it, man. You got to get back into it.
It's that you're trying to put good out, right? Like, and that's for not for all, but for most coaches, that's exactly what it is. You're just trying to use whatever that format is to help these kids kind of understand what life is supposed to be like, and maybe they get something out of it at the end.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's funny. I was just talking to somebody else about it, and they're like, like, what makes you really like coaching so much? You really like football? Like, do you want them to be all really good football players? I'm like, I do. I actually, it's not really. I don't want them to all be really good football players. It's more the correlation of them learning something small and understanding, like, they could actually block a person that's twice their size with a perfect technique, and then realizing, like, oh, if I just knew, how to search out certain information to kind of help me in this big task that I had in front of me, maybe I can do that other things. And I've seen it, man. I've seen it with a lot of the kids that I coach, that just by helping them learn how to exercise and activate and learn different techniques and excelling in a football field, I've seen them take that, their confidence just builds up. And because their confidence builds up, they're able to do the same thing in other parts of their lives. So it's honestly, that's why I coach, man. It's not, it's not I want them to be an NFL football star or anything, but it's just like, you just never know the coaching that you provide for them, and having them realize that, like, oh wow, I can actually play O-line and hang with the big boys. Fuck, I can probably do that with everything else in my life, right? Yeah, of course you can. Why not?
So, and that's the whole thing, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for you, because I truly believe in I call it pebbles. Like, the more good deeds, sometimes it's bad deeds too, but the more good deeds you throw out into the lake, the more ripples they cause. And as many kids as I know that the lives that you've touched and so forth, even the ones that I obviously don't know, like, I cannot wait for all those ripples to get out there in the world. I think it's really, really cool.
Man, thank you, man. Yeah, I think I've read that somewhere before. Like, every time I think of that same type of phrase that you were saying, I always think of that movie Coach Carter. And then remember, he asked that one kid, well, what are you most scared of?
What is your greatest fear?
What is your greatest fear? And it's funny that when he said that quote a long time ago, I was just like, oh, what the hell does he mean by that quote? And then when I got really deep into coaching, then I watched that movie again, and then I heard him say that quote again, and I looked it up, and I read it. I'm like, dude, this resonates with me probably the most I ever did on everything else in my life. I mean, it's just like, people are scared of, pursuing certain things that they don't know that other people are watching them. And for them to reach their highest peak, they're not only allowing themselves to get to that level and reach at that higher peak, they don't know that these other kids are actually looking at them and saying, like, oh, wow, look, he did it. I know exactly how he grew up. I could do it exactly like him. So now they're raising up the whole standard, right? It's raising standards across all the people around them and their inner circle, their families, their friends, and all that. And that's what I'm very excited about, and that's why I think me and you talked about this before, but that's why we coach, man. Yeah. Just raising standards and just allowing kids to brighten other kids' lives and brighten their own lives at the same time. So
absolutely. I think that's tremendous. And I cannot, again, I know I've thanked you 842 times, but thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story with us.
No, thanks, man. Thanks for having me, bro. I'm very happy that you're doing this podcast. I've been watching your other shows. It's been awesome, and I'm very surprised that you even brought me on here. But it's whatever value that we can provide, man. That's all it's all about, right?
Absolutely.
Providing value for everybody.
Well, cheers. This has been another episode of From the Root to the Fruit. I've been Jay Smith. Let's Pila. Thank you so much. You guys, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel a ton. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.